Ritfit BLP01 3-in-1 hack squat machine. I've had it for well over 6 months now. I'm going to tell you my honest thoughts and opinions. So let's get into it. Taking an up close and personal look at the quality of the machining. There's some up close personal welds of it. There you go. You can see about 6 months of use. Slight little bit of amount of rust. I do store this in my garage. I do live in Florida and it gets hot and humid. Occasionally I do put other pieces of workout equipment right here so you can see there's just a touch of stretching when it comes to the pad. Nice solid rubber bumpers. Hand hold down here for your safety levers. Another hand hold for when you're really trying to push serious weight. 1,200 pounds total capacity on this machine. It roughly took about, by myself, I'm gonna say 4 hours to put together because it gets a little tricky when you're trying to load the sled. I do recommend you have somebody else help you when you're putting this thing together. Here's some Ritfit bumper plates. They do not come with the machine. These are an added cost. Occasionally Ritfit does have a combo sale. I believe this machine is going for 800 bucks right now on their website, but you can search it out and get some combo deals. And I've seen this thing go down to about 600 bucks. Here's the shoulder pads. I have it set up for the squat. Really, really good. I wouldn't consider it industrial grade, but I would definitely consider this for a family household. You're gonna get plenty of work out of this thing. So one thing to note about the BLP01, its target demographic is gonna be for someone who's about 5'3" to 6'8", I believe. I'm 5'10", so it works out quite well for me. Getting up in the machine, you can see how the safety bars automatically move out of the way. One thing I am noticing is, just because I'm sure this is a material cost and also a size type of thing. When I mean size, I'm talking about how much space it takes up in your area. And also for the way you can transform between the two different types of workouts. That way I can show you. I'm gonna put my feet up in here. Get my legs set up. Interesting view, I know, but the only way I can show you is from my perspective. In order to get a comfortable squat, I feel I have to keep my toes off the front here. And if you go to an actual gym, you're gonna notice that this plate here is gonna be a lot bigger. But obviously for those machines, you're gonna be paying a pretty hefty penny. You're gonna be paying definitely in the thousands of dollars versus this one being 800 bucks. So bringing my legs down, I'm at the bumper stops. You can see right down there. This is kind of where I am. It doesn't necessarily feel that's good for my knees. So if you want a nice wide squat, you're space limited as well. So you got to check that out. That could be a drawback. Or if you're shorter than me and it's not a bother to you, then you're probably going to like this machine. So real easy, simple one-handed operation. You just got to find the right spot where you need to be. Obviously I'm holding the camera. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but there you are. If you're utilizing bumper plates, you can see this is a 35 pound, this is a 25 pound, but how much space they take on the actual peg itself. If you're using straight up steel plates, you can get a lot of weight on here. They're talking about 1,200 pounds total capacity. I do believe that counts you being on the machine. So whatever your weight is, you're gonna have to subtract that to figure it out. Also, these pegs here, I'm pretty sure I'm compromised a little bit because you notice the machine does not come with a wooden plank and casters. This makes it easier for me to move it around, because one drawback about all of these hack squat leg press machines, they do take a big footprint. So you've got to make sure you have that. And there's nothing out there, unless if you're just using a Smith machine, to compensate for that style. My understanding is most people would want to buy these because you are very big into training your legs. I'm starting to get very big into training my legs. So this has been awesome for me as well. Plus, being a man over the age of 40, testosterone production is extremely important in order to my longevity. I've got 2 young kids. I'm going to be training the biggest muscle I possibly have, or I'm going to be training the biggest muscle that is on my body, which is my legs, and that will help spur more testosterone production. Older guys, you may want to think about that. All right. How hard is it to transfer from a leg press into a squat? And I'll show you. I'm going to try to do it one-handed. There's one peg right here. Pull that peg out. You take your backrest and you literally just move it here, and you line it up with the hole. Take your peg, boom, you're ready to rock. You now have a butt pad, and then here, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to do, so I'm going to have to set up my tripod. This blue pin here, if you pull that, there we go. And now you have your footrest plate all set up, ready to rock for some presses. The one thing I must admit is these presses, which I'm gonna adjust this downward a little bit, feel really, really good for me. I mean, I feel I can get down and deep very nicely. And the other thing I can do here is I go right into some calf presses and really isolate my calf muscles on each side. So, and it's really easy to set up my safety bars, and that way I can get out of the machine pretty easily. So speaking of the safety bars and the way these things work, it's real simple. There's just this little rubber grommet thing with a hole, and that's what makes the metal from stopping contact metal. So if you can see the wear, especially if you're letting weight sit on that, these things could wear out. I'm not exactly sure if you can get more of them, but what you can do is rotate them through all the different places so you get even wear with all of them. The only thing that I have done maintenance wise is I have sprayed some silicone lubricant on the track itself, and then I've just cleaned all the rest material so that I don't get any bacteria growing on it. A couple of things you do want to be careful, just like anything else, is I have bumped my shins on these parts before just walking around the machine. I definitely have limited space in my garage, and what I do is I roll the thing back here and I put it right in front of my car that's been in stasis for the past 15 years. And then you can see here's my other workout equipment. But that's why I use casters, in order to make sure I can move things around and maximize the space that I have in my 2-car garage. Good news is it does come with these 2 weight horns, so you have plenty of space for storage. What it does end up doing is it takes a little bit more space if you're using Olympic size bumper plates, because it'll extend out the base. I'll go over on the website talking about all the specific dimensions of this machine so you can plan out your space and how you're going to work with it. But if I didn't have this thing on casters, I would be bending over a little bit more to go ahead and load up the weights. The good news is, with where it was designed and how it is right here, I can just load it very quickly onto the machine itself to the sled. For the overall price point, you're getting into a real good quality leg exercise machine. It's not going to be commercial grade, so do not have the expectations of that. It will bring you definite gains, and as long as you're under 6'4", this machine will work for you. I'm 5'10". I could go all the way down to being 5'4", and I'll get a really good workout out. Though just a couple things I do wish that were provided with it. We already explained. I wish the base was just a little bit bigger when it comes to where you put your feet. And I guess wishful thinking, I wish it didn't take about 4 hours to put together. But otherwise, I'm very impressed. I think this is a solid piece of equipment for anybody's budget, depending on what you're trying to achieve. Okay, speaking of the leg press, try to give you a good POV, and I've got it set up to the middle ring. You only got 3 adjustments here for different angles, but going on in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that. You notice how those flop back, the safeties, which is awesome. Definitely has that industrial grade gym quality feel. All right, so for me to feel comfortable, I have to put my toes just off the edge there, and I can get nice and deep. I'm working on my core, so my knees generally bump right into my belly, but I'm working on my sugar intake for that one. But you can see it does have a nice sled sound to it. All right, and then if you want to get a real deep calf, you can go to the actual structure of it here and extend out and do your presses that way. And you can see how the movement of the weights are with the sled. I think it's actually pretty smart design how it underhangs the sled. That way it'll take up less space, as to being outside here where maybe the weights are a little bit more accessible, but this is definitely a good space saving feature. So you got to even out both sides. I forgot to mention that these handles for the squat, they're also really well padded, just like this one right here. 6 months of use, no issues. And then when you're done with the exercise, I gotta switch hands holding the camera. You're gonna have to probably put your feet in the center of the machine. It won't be as high as mine because I think I added about 5 inches being on the casters. And I just step out of it. All right, this machine itself weighs a couple 100 pounds. So when you're done setting it up, if you don't have a friend, it's gonna be right where it's gonna be when you're done with it. So consider where you're gonna be setting this machine up. Therefore, you have it placed wherever it's gonna be, especially a basement. It comes in 3 boxes. Those 3 boxes, I believe the heaviest one weighs about 70 pounds, maybe 80 pounds. And then the others vary from 60 to 70 pounds. So be careful putting this thing together. All right, that's what I can offer you. Invest in some torque wrenches, or excuse me, some socket sets with ratchet wrenches, because it's going to be needed putting this together. It does come with tools in order to put it together. Those tools they're okay, they'll get the job done, but it's definitely going to slow your process. I'm going to guarantee you 4 hours will probably turn in maybe 6 or 7 hours. That does it for the Ritfit BLP01. I've got other workout videos, gym equipment videos right here. And if you like other styles of equipment, I got that here. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out the channel. If you like it, just give it a like, man. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate the support. Also, go ahead and give me a subscription. That always helps the channel. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to Aviator's Garage. I'm going to be getting out some more car content shortly, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of those videos. Till the next one, see ya.